Is the name Kansas City Chiefs problematic? If the answer is yes, every team is problematic. Alright, so some Chiefs fan thinks that his team is fine for culturally appropriating Native American culture as long as his quarterback is a frog muppet, it's okay. Now, before you start calling me out for my bias, let's see what it feels like when the spotlight comes back at your team, which you know is definitely not problematic. Alright, so here's my question. Which is worse? A white guy going, "Go Native Americans!" or being like, "Go team that murdered Native Americans. Murder them good. Do that genocide." Uh-oh, this guy's in danger. By the way, his name is Sourdough Sam. So gluten intolerant people are triggered.
This one is doing keto right now.
It is absolutely insane to me that it seems like the Chiefs are now at the top of the list of teams who need to change their name now that the C words are the C words. The Buffalo Bills are named after one specific guy, Buffalo Bill Cody, who became famous as the personified representation of the systematic slaughter of Buffalo, which was done to starve Native Americans off their land. Like part of a genocidal operation. This dude's like, "I'm the best at doing lots of the bison wasting, so they'll starve to death. I'm so good at this." We're talking slaughtering bison by the hundreds in a day, just leaving their carcasses all over the place. Not even they're going to waste. This is not a meat operation. This is a waste those so those people can't eat. He also killed Native Americans personally and thought that was a good old time. So he led hunting parties of these rich assholes going around slaughtering bison, thus turning that, light genocide into this recreational activity for rich assholes. Later, he started a Wild West show, which would have displays of Indians attacking wagon trains. Basically, he popularized the idea of let's have these Native Americans show up and it'll be the bad guy and we can go pew, 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 pew. He got a nickname for his role in a genocide because he was just so good at it. Now go to the comments and find the Bills fans rationalizing why he was such a good dude. I mean, he was good on women's rights, and he employed Native Americans in his Wild West show where he was popularizing the trope of the bad Injun. You guys thought Bills Mafia was triggered by 13 seconds? They're not watching 13 more seconds of this video. The Bills mascot is a cartoon buffalo. The team is named after a dude who murdered lots of those. And then the mascot's the thing he murdered? That'd be like if the Patriots mascot on the field was a bunch of pansy redcoats and then they shot them at halftime? I don't know. Or if the Raiders mascot was a parole officer. Or if the Saints mascot was molestation, sexy children. Anyway, let's get on to this Super Bowl where the San Francisco team is up against that problematic Chiefs. Native American appropriating team from the Midwest doesn't know any better. Let's go to woke San Francisco. The 49ers are a celebration of the bootstrapsy cartoon of a white gold prospector who brutally treated Chinese immigrants, basically turning them into slave labor. Oh, and they killed Native Americans, a lot. And I don't mean one or two of them was a little, trigger happy. The California government and the federal government had a policy that any idiot could round up a posse of morons and get some guns and some horses or whatever and just go Native American murdering and bring back some scalps to prove it, and we'll reimburse you for your fun posse activities, something historians have called death squads. So those bootstrapsy 49ers just murdering Native Americans to get them off the land. That's cool. The federal government and the California state government spent $40 million in support of death squads. So yes, let's celebrate the team that did death squad things against Native Americans. That's definitely better than being yay Native Americans. That's clearly worse. Cowboys and Texans, those both celebrate the cattle ranchers that settled the state. Want to guess what happened to the Native American people that lived there before Texas was turned into a giant cow fart factory? And talk about cultural appropriation. This is the biggest form of cultural appropriation we have in America right now. Suburban white guys driving massive trucks for no reason that haul nothing heavier than their fat kids, wearing cowboy boots and going by nicknames like Ted when their real name's Raphael. Patriots, sure, fuck the British, we don't need no kings. Oh, by the way, Native Americans who used to live here, this is ours now. Oh, and many of them owned slaves. Okay, now I know what you're thinking. Does this guy ride a bicycle with a big front wheel? They're called penny farthings, people, and I don't ride them, I collect them. No, I'm not a Civil War reenactor. I'm getting ready for the next one. And as for tying women to railroad tracks while I twist my mustache, stop kink shaming me, okay? Just don't knock until you try it. I've never seen a woman truly wet.
All right now.
No, I mean, I know what you're thinking. Is this guy really gonna claim every single team is problematic? Yes. Yes, I am. Now, which one is gonna be the hardest? Is it your team? Spoiler, in the form of a riddle, the one that was perhaps the least problematic is maybe the fan base that's most problematic. So Chiefs, is it offensive? I am with you on changing away from Native American names and iconography if there's like a racist caricature, like, you know, Chief Wahoo, Cleveland Indians, I don't like that. Or if there's like the R word, a racist slur of a name, like the Washington Cunts, you know, I don't like that one. But, and here my bias as a Chiefs fan doesn't show up at all because I don't believe the Chiefs run afoul of either rule. Chiefs is not specific to Native Americans. The word itself comes from Latin through French. The team was named after H. Bartle, who was mayor of Kansas City, and his nickname was the Chief. The logo is of a flint arrowhead. Those are found all over the world, not just in the Americas. The most Native American thing in the name Kansas City Chiefs is the Kansas. Of course, there's more to it than just the name. There's iconography, headdresses, and chants, and so on. While the wearing of headdresses has been banned in the stadium for a while now, the tomahawk chop still, you know, kind of happens. Is that necessarily a bad thing? I mean, if it's bad, it's not as bad as the death squad running old prospectors. So can we agree murdering Native Americans is worse than being like, yay, Native Americans, even though I'm a white guy? I just keep coming back to this question.
So I've been waiting for this. Sorry.
If naming a team after something we want to honor is a good thing, why is it bad to name a team after Native Americans? Patriots to honor our founding fathers who murdered tea drinkers. Ravens to remember that alcoholic poet. We all have one of those in our families. And we name a team the Tits so we can all remember the Tits. One of the key things about the NFL is that they want us to remember the Tits. Now, you can say that some Native Americans are offended, and we should honor Native Americans by respecting their wishes to not be used as a name or a mascot. But not all Native Americans agree on it, and if the bar is some people are offended by it, then all mascots have to go because absolutely every mascot is offensive to somebody, as I'm going to demonstrate. Now, there's a saying, impact over intent. My wife taught me that one. It's about spanking, but I think it applies here too. Now, we have a tradition, me and my wife, which is when we beat the Bills in the playoffs, I get excited, I pull her pants down, and I spank her in celebration. It started spontaneously in the 13 seconds game. In fact, it wasn't even when we won, it was when we got the field goal to force overtime after the 13 seconds thing happened. I don't know if that's a premature celebration. You know, don't celebrate until the fat lady sings. But what if you're spanking a fat butt with a P? I'm not calling her fat. Her butt is fat. Anyway, point is, whenever the Bills win at all, or just beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, I'm sure they're going to invent a spontaneous celebration that's far weirder. But tradition is tradition. I love traditions. It starts for no reason. Next thing you know, we're throwing people in a pit in Orchard Park, New York. So anyway, that's impact over intent. It doesn't matter if you have all the nice feelings in the world about what you think you're accomplishing. It's about the actual impact. So we can philosophize our way to an answer, but who am I to tell Native Americans they're wrong to be offended? Dan Snyder. And while I might want to argue that growing up a Chiefs fan might make me more inclined to empathize with Native Americans, like maybe when I'm in history class in like 5th grade, I might be a little bit more suspicious of like how great this manifest destiny thing was. And I might spend my Sundays rooting for a team that's based on Native Americans against the Patriots. Maybe that opens my mind a little bit. Maybe I'm more empathetic to Native Americans. Maybe as an adult, I might be more empathetic to Native American causes and worry about homelessness and joblessness and things like that. So maybe this bias could work for the positive. I'm Kevin Costner in Dances with Wolves, is what I'm trying to say. But if the team was just called the Jefferson City Tomboys, I could doom scroll right past some shit about Native American joblessness rate. Who gives a shit? I don't identify with that at all. On the other hand, not sure the people of Denver are getting more fuzzy feelings about Native Americans when they shout "fuck the queefs" all the time.
What fucking bullshit, man.
And in fact, I did find a study or two showing that in places with Native American team names and mascots, that there are negative consequences for the kids growing up around there. And that's the kind of thing that a biased person would ignore completely, but I'm an English professor, so here you go. I will show you my sources and then feel so good about myself and how high-minded I am that I'll play both sides. I'm always on top. Let us consider the Viking, which is a racist caricature. The Vikings never wore horned helmets like that. That's a cartoonish creation of the 18th century. Vikings are a racist caricature of a brutal pagan savage that must be civilized by ever-expanding Christendom, converting the pagans into Christians by force if necessary.
And what he did to people who wouldn't convert to Christianity involves the snake incident. He had his mouth pried open and they put like little sticks in the mouth to keep the guy from closing his mouth, stuck a snake in one end, burned the tail of the snake so the snake would slither down this guy's throat into his stomach, and the guy died as the snake tries to bite his way out of the guy's side.
The conversion of the pagan Norse to Christianity, it's a bit like the Catholic Church's warm-up for the playing God they would do in the New World when they had a bigger technological advantage and then accidental biological warfare backing them up. And then you take this exaggerated caricature, you do an Icelandic chant thing, and even though most of you aren't Icelandic but are cosplaying as Icelandic, but you say nobody is complaining about the Viking mascot. Unlike Native Americans, where people are complaining, nobody's complaining about this Viking thing. This is just a celebration. A lot of these white people are part Swedish. Okay, sure. What I'm hearing is, if you're so super successful at eradicating a culture and converting it to your own culture, then it's okay to caricaturize. You turn them all into Christians, none of the Norse pagans are around to complain, right? So if you finish the job, it's fine to do it. But if you leave some around to complain about it, now it's problematic. Oh, okay, I'm learning a lesson here. So just make sure you wipe them all out or subjugate them into your culture so completely that nobody dares complain and you're good to go. Is the Viking skull chant really different than the tomahawk chop? I mean, they're both a bunch of Midwestern white people cosplaying as cartoonish caricatures of a pagan savage. The difference is how many years have gone by? Does that mean that Native American cosplay and stuff will be okay in some number of years? How many years? Give me a number. To be clear, I am playing devil's avocado here. I like traditions. I like as a whole stadium doing some sort of thing. We do a thing, everyone does it, and we all yell together.
Fat kid screaming in your face.
Personally, if we change the Kansas City Chefs, I'd be down with that.
Hey, that's great. But who are the chefs? Great googly moogly.
Replace the tomahawk chop with a chef's knife, right? And you chant, "Hey, you meth heads, get the fuck out of my kitchen." And then, because, back of house type shit. And once he retires, an anthropomorphic walrus chef, Andy Reid, there's your mascot. You turn the Flint Arrowhead logo into a kick-ass chef's knife. You put a cartoon Anthony Bourdain smoking a cigarette in the end zone. I'll go for that. That's amazing. I would do that 100%. I once attended a Chiefs game where Anthony Bourdain was in attendance drinking a lot of vodka with his Russian buddy.
Jello shots, Amir. I taught you earlier how to do these.
Yes. Should I? Oh, that's good. Can you show me again? Love America.
And we beat the Packers, who were 15-1 that year. We were the one. I was there. Tony was there. It was great.
In Kansas City, Missouri, the 13-0 Green Bay Packers get set to take on Kyle Orton.
By the way, why don't Patriots fans dress up in powdered wigs and do like a tomahawk chop, but with like a T-pinky? But if my team's got to change, I'm taking you all down with me, like a kamikaze. That could be a fun team mascot, by the way. Seattle Pilots, that's boring. Oof. Imagine if Ichiro played for the Seattle Kamikazes. No racist jokes are happening there. That would have been okay.
Excuse me a minute.
If we got rid of all mentions, any kind of reference to anything Native American, is that really better? Or does that just make us into this meme? Like, is that what we want to do? Okay, Jeff, you're reaching. You're just a biased Chiefs fan, wants to keep your team. And maybe that's it. But if you want to go there, you're saying that I'm biased because I grew up with a tradition, which is now changing how I think about an issue, which proves my point that a bias can be good. Maybe it can cause a bias towards helping Native Americans, empathizing with Native Americans. Maybe it can make some Mormons consider, but then decide not to listen to jazz.
Do we understand that?
Now what you all came for, in order of offensiveness, how every team is problematic. Tier 1, Buffalo Bills, San Francisco 49ers. Yes, let's celebrate the people who contributed directly to genocide of Native Americans. They had their death squads. Cowboys, Texans, Patriots. We stole the land. We did stuff with the land. We're slave owners. That's good. New Orleans Saints. Yes, let's glorify the Catholic Church, famous for its rapey, slavery, tortury policies in the New World. Plus the team itself is involved in a Catholic Church sex abuse scandal. The team is. They were helping them cover it up. And by the way, their mascot has a ball sack for a face. Who the fuck designed this? What is wrong with this franchise? It's no wonder the football gods hate them. Vikings, Buccaneers, Raiders. What's wrong with a little water-based looting? I mean, how is this problematic? Buccaneers and Raiders are just white pirates, not a pagan Norse caricature. Well, guess what? Those white pirates of the Caribbean were looting. That's right, natives. Let's do a little abduction. Sell some of these people as slaves. Yes, they were doing that in the New World to Native Americans, not just to Africans. So let's glorify those people and how great and cool they were as they were going around, sailing around, stealing things, including people. Tier 2, the Cincinnati Bengals, named after an oven, technically, but let's name our team after a tiger/region of India, Bangladesh, right? That sounds exotic and other. That's where it's the Bengal tiger. It's not just a tiger, it's from this weird place on the other side of the world. Look how weird it is. Now imagine the reverse, right? You discovered a major sports team in India was called the Florida Men. In the comments, what's on the helmet of the Bengal Florida Men?
Free Big Mac.
Seahawks culturally appropriate Native American art, okay, and the name Seattle is the name of a Native American chief. So y'all got chief in your name too. Jets are from New York and they remind everyone of 9/11 constantly. And they are named Jets because they played near LaGuardia, okay. Naming something in honor of its proximity to LaGuardia, offensive. The Browns are named after Paul Brown, who was a notorious cheapskate, who was very anti-union, okay, anti-union rich guy, offended. Fuck that guy. He would retaliate against union organizing. He once cut the player who was the team's union rep. So they responded by making the quarterback the union rep so he wouldn't be cut. Rename that team in honor of one of their legendary players. Instead, I nominate Fair Hooker. The Steelers honor blue-collar steelworkers, but are owned by a billionaire family who are generations detached from actual blue-collar work. Imagine if Paris Hilton started a sports team, called them the Garbage Men, and we pretended we were honoring sanitation workers as we handed all of our money over to an heiress. Besides, the name of the city is also problematic. That's right, you were wondering how I was gonna get offended by some of these teams. Here's my back door.
Needed 2 thrusts to get it in.
Pittsburgh is named after William Pitt, who personally fought against Native Americans in the French and Indian War. So just like the Browns, rename the team for one of your classic players. I nominate Dick Shiner. Now imagine that AFC North rivalry between the Fair Hookers and the Dick Shiners. That's classic Thursday Night Football right there.
All right now.
Washington Commanders, well, aside from the fact that they ignored my suggestion, which I made like a decade ago, and I still see this pop up on our NFL from time to time, this shitty graphic that I designed. Washington was a slave owner. Baltimore is named after Cecil Calvert, the second Baron Baltimore, who was a slave owner. Here he is pictured with an unknown slave. Well, you don't even need to name that kid behind him. Oh, that's cool. The New York Jets and Giants, well, New York is named for King James VII and II. It's complicated. He was in both. He was then Duke of York. Pretty sure the King of England in 1685 did some slave things. Jacksonville Jaguars, well, Jacksonville is named for Andrew Jackson, the Trail of Tears guy, okay? Carolina Panthers. Carolina is named for King Charles I or King Charles II, and any English king in that time period definitely didn't own slaves or do any kind of atrocity things, okay. Miami Dolphins, well, Miami, Native American name. Chicago Bears, well, Chicago. The most accepted Chicago meaning is it's a word from the Algonquin meaning striped skunk or onion. So they're stinky one way or another. So if you're gonna honor the Native Americans, your mascot needs to be a striped skunk or an onion, not the striped skunk bears. The Tennessee Titans, that's Cherokee, Tennessee is. And aside from that, just shorten the name to Tits already, okay? Their mascot ate a cheerleader, tits and all, like an ortolan. Cheerleaders don't have beaks though. Where do you hold the cheerleader like it's a beak when you're eating an ortolan? And do you have to drown the cheerleader in cognac first? I don't, Arizona Cardinals, Arizona, Native American name. And of course, Kansas City falls into this section as well, the Kansas people. But wait, the Chiefs play in Missouri, but I'm in Kansas right now. What? This is so complicated. It's making my brain pain. So let's do a little time lapse, a little journey. I'm gonna go all the way to Missouri. Let's do some sort of a time lapse travel vlog. Oh, look at that. I'm in Missouri. Oh, I did it. I'm in Missouri now. Here, the state line is a road called State Line Road. Hey, don't touch my camera. Oh, God. All right, Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta was named after the fact that it was the terminus of the Western Atlantic Railroad. Quote, in 1837, what is now the city of Atlanta used to be nothing more than empty land. Yeah, I'm sure no one lived there at all. So the city of Atlanta is just named after this Western Atlantic Railroad. It's the end of the railroad. By the way, the Trail of Tears, as a result of the Indian Removal Act, that's where they were removing them from. So when you hear the word Atlanta, you should think Trail of Tears cleared out the Cherokee people, it cleared the way for a railroad, and we named the city after that railroad. Also, the Falcons logo isn't like an F, but only half the time, because sometimes it's a backwards F. Guys, what the fuck are you doing? When you have a letter on your team logo on the helmet, you can't just mirror it for the other side. The letters are fucking backwards, which is why the Chiefs have two different logos, and so do the Ravens, because Kansas City, unlike Atlanta, is not just a bunch of Norams. The LA Rams, well, Los Angeles, City of Angels, named by the Catholic Spanish, who were, spreading smallpox and colonizing by means of massacre, slavery, torture, rape, and so on of indigenous people. So you can get Chargers in there. But also, the Chargers, the Colts, and the Broncos are all named after horses. And the horse was brought to the New World by, you guessed it, Europeans, as they subjugated the New World on horseback. The Broncos, for example, are named after Bronco Buster, a sculpture on the Capitol grounds depicting a cowboy taming a bucking bronco, symbolizing the white man taming the rugged frontier. So killing Native Americans while riding a horse. Okay. Also, the idea that the bucking bronco represents the untamed Wild West. Bro, the horses were your pets that got loose. You're just rounding up your loose pets. Jesus Christ. And many of you are probably going, I didn't know Charger was a kind of horse.
He beats cocks.
Yeah. What'd you think? We named a team after your phone charger in 1960? And by the way, Indianapolis, it means Indian city in Greek-ish. And Denver is named after Jim Denver, who at one point was the California Secretary of State during the Gold Rush. So let's go back to that reimbursing death squads thing. I'm guessing Denver's problematic as well. And Colts I find doubly offensive because it bugs the shit out of me that they have a horseshoe for a logo and they've never realized that if you turn it, it would make a C. What the fuck are you doing? And secondly, it reminds me that the state of Indiana exists. Tier 3, you're really reaching section. Detroit Lions. Well, Detroit comes from the French word for strait. It was founded as a key location in a strait, allowing it to become important in the fur trade. So French people rooting around Native American territory and killing things and stealing beaver pelts and so on. During Pontiac's War, a group of Native Americans laid siege to Fort Detroit, unsuccessfully. So the city continuing to exist with the French name is testament to the defeat of Native Americans in a specific battle. And it makes you think of the French, which, okay, triggered. Similarly, Green Bay, Wisconsin was a French settlement which was allied with Native Americans in the French and Indian War, and it had a French name meaning the Bay of Stinking Waters, and it was taken over by the English in battle. So in the process of killing French people and Indians, the city became English and got its English name Green Bay. So its name is a testament to Native Americans losing a battle. And finally, Freya, we're down to the last one, the least offensive team name. That is the Philadelphia Eagles. Congratulations, Philadelphia. So a lot of my tricks wouldn't work here. Philadelphia, that's Greek, but it's not named after a Greek city-state where I could be like, oh, genocide, they did this. Now, Philadelphia just means the city of brotherly love. All right. And the eagle is just an eagle. How is it just an eagle offensive? Well, the eagle, it's inspired by the logo of the National Recovery Administration, which was part of the New Deal. So socialism, so some Republicans are triggered, blam, gotcha. And they were inspired to pick that name because some of the team people saw a billboard for the National Recovery Administration. So this team name is in honor of billboards and advertising, so I'm triggered by that. Also, y'all threw batteries at Santa Claus. And the eagle became the national symbol in the original capital, Philadelphia, because the founders wanted to evoke the Roman Empire, who definitely never did genocide or slavery. So there you go, they're all problematic. The only solution is that all American cities need to be renamed to things like Rivertown or Bogfort, and then the teams need to be named after a different species of cat. We're not all truly free until we're all wild cats. I look forward to 30 Super Bowls before I die, played between like the Swamp Parking Lot Jaguars and the Slavery Port City Ravens, the New England Pussies versus the Dallas Cougars, or the Bay of Stinking Waters Fudge Cats versus the Sex Criminal Boat Airport Cats.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Anyway, that's all for my Super Bowl preview, Chiefs versus Niners. Personally, I'm rooting for the Native Americans to murder those fucking prospectors. We did it once and we'll fucking do it again. Chiefs 31, 49ers -6, so take the under on that one, boys.
All right now.
My other Explodion picks of the week, as is tradition around here, a big dumb parlay. I've parlayed together the Chiefs scoring over 23.5, the over on the national anthem at 85.5 seconds. Always go over on the national anthem. They take forever. The under on Taylor Swift's screen time, because she's going to be in Tokyo. And the over on how many sack fumbles result in a testicle coming loose on the field. You put those together, you get plus 1450. And this, by the way, is Freya, who is named after Frigg, the Norse god of Fridays. And fun fact, it's going to be Friday in 39 minutes. The best team of all time, best team name ever, the Rochester Jeffs. Why, you know, look at all the names like that. Anyway, I'm going to go put on blackface. Oh, that's a Freya. Oh, that's my Freya. Oh, Freya. You wanna do some ASMR? We'll do a little ASMR, that could be fun.